Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is doing well. We're going to start out with Raz Kids. As usual, click on your name, and the password is LEAP, lowercase L-E-A-P. All right, so today our story is called Statues in the Sand. Now, yesterday we read about beaches and we got to see all the different types of beaches, the pink sand beach, the black sand, the glass beach. So today, now we're going to learn about how sand sculptures are made. As we read, we're going to notice the text features because this is a nonfiction story. What does nonfiction mean? It means it's true and it's going to give us information. So most of the time for a nonfiction story, the author's purpose is going to be to give us information. What kind of information do you think we will learn in this story? I want you to think about that. And we're going to get started with our reading. Statues in the Sand. Wow, look at that one. Amazing. We have our table of contents. That is one text feature of a nonfiction book. So it starts with an introduction, just like when you guys write your paragraphs, you introduce the topic, and the topic is going to be sand sculptures. And then it goes through all the different things we're going to learn about. So it says sand sculptors, what sand sculptors do, amazing sand statues, conclusion, and then your glossary. So all the words in bold print are going to be in the glossary. So if you don't know that word, you can go in the glossary. Oh, wow, look at that. That is amazing. Imagine how much time it would take to make that statue. Introduction. You may have seen sandcastles at the beach. Have you ever seen one like this? No, I never saw one like this. I have seen some really cool ones down the beach, but nothing this extravagant. Some people get paid to play in the sand. They are called sand sculptors. Okay, so people that get paid to play in the sand are called sand sculptors. But they're not really playing, they're building. Sand sculptors. Sand sculptors don't just make amazing sandcastles, they are artists who use sand to make interesting statues. So, what is a statue? It's one of our bold printed words. A statue is something that stands still, right? Do you know? Sand sculptors often spray their finished statues with glue. The glue keeps the sand statues from falling down. Very interesting. I did not know that. Also, underneath the picture, what I just read, do you know, that's called the caption. Some of their sand statues take days to make. The sand statues can last for months. So what makes them last? What do the sand sculptors use? They use glue, right? Okay, let's look at the heading. What sand sculptors do. It takes a lot of work to make giant sand statues. First, sand sculptors need a big pile of sand. So you see they have their shovels, they're making their big pile. Then they fill wooden walls with sand. They wet the sand as they fill the walls. Wow, I did not know that they had wooden walls underneath. Very, very interesting. Next, they jump on the wet sand to pack it down. This is called a pound up. Finally, the sculptors begin to carve the sand. They start carving from the top of their sand pile. Sand sculptors use tools and their hands to carve the sand. Amazing sand statues. Sand sculptors can carve sand to look like real people. Just like this one in this picture, it looks like a real person. They can make animals that have teeth and claws. Whoa, look at that dragon. Sand sculptors can even shape the sand to look like a city. Sand sculptors go to contests around the world. Wow, that sounds like a fun thing to do, to go to one of those contests to see all the different statues. All right, I'm going to read the Do You Know? One of the biggest sand sculptures ever built was in China. Over 30 sculptors spent 75 days to build a sculpture 73 feet tall. Wow, that's a long time. Conclusion. Sand sculptors make all kinds of amazing statues out of sand. They all started the same way, though. They started by playing in the sand. And there's your glossary there that has all the words that were in bold print. So this will come in handy when we do the assignment. I hope you enjoyed that book. Very beautiful, beautiful sand sculptures. Sand statues. Building sand statues is hard work. What details supports this idea? All right, so we know that building sand statues is hard work, right? So now we have to figure out which one of these means working hard, okay? A, sand statues can last for months. B, I keep messing up that word. Sculptors jump on wet sand to pack it down. Or sand statues can look like cities. So I want you to think about which one goes the most with the hard work. The last step of the sand sculpting process is A, to wet the sand, B, to fill wooden walls with sand, or C, to carve the sand from the top. Well, let's go back and find the last one. Whenever it's a sequencing question, it's a good idea to just go back. Let's see. So I'm going to go to the conclusion, and if it's not there, then we'll have to go back a little bit. Oh, here we go. All right, so I believe right around here. Okay, it says, finally, the sculptors begin to carve the sand. They start carving from the top of their sand pile. Sand sculptors use tools and their hands to carve the sand. So it says the last thing they're going to do is carve it. Okay, whoops. So let's find the one that has carve. Which one is it, guys? C, to carve the sand from the top. What is the main idea of the section, what sand sculptors do? So main idea is what that part is all about, okay? So if you look at the table of contents in the beginning, right here, we'll go to page 8, what sand sculptors do. And when we go to that page, we're gonna read it and talk about what the main idea is. It takes a lot of work to make giant sand statues. First, sand sculptors need a big pile of sand. Then they fill wooden walls with sand. They wet the sand as they fill the walls. Next, they jump on the wet sand to pack it down. This is called a pound up. Finally, the sculptors begin to carve the sand. They start carving from the top of their sand pile. Sand sculptors use tools and their hands to carve the sand. All right, so what was that all mostly about? It told us how they make the statues, right? So let's see if we can find one that fits the best. A, sand sculptors Sculptors carve sand to look like real people. Sand sculptors go to contests all over the world. Sand sculptors work hard to make sand statues. All right, so it's not going to be A. Yes, they do carve sand to look like real people, but they also carve to look like animals. B. Sand sculptors go to contests all over the world. That is true, but that doesn't tell us what sand sculptors do. C. Sand sculptors work hard to make sand statues because it told us all about the things they did to make it. What is most likely the reason the author wrote this book? Now, I talked about this in the beginning. You're going to answer this one. I'll read the choices. A, to inform readers about the art of creating sand statues. B, to give directions on how to make a sand statue. Or C, to convince readers to play in the sand. Remember, nonfiction. Which word means causing great wonder or surprise? Let's go to the glossary. And we want to find the word that means great wonder or surprise. Whoops, great wonder or surprise. Look at this. The word amazing, causing great wonder or surprise. Amazing. And you guys are amazing. Keep up the great work, and I will see you up next for some social studies. Bye for now, everyone.